All right, welcome to the final round. Excuse me. This hand on the play, I think we're interested in keeping. The Scalding Tarn Serum Vision situation, a little bit awkward considering this is currently our only red source, but we'd rather postpone the fetch to see if we're able to get another basic island. 3 basic islands is a lot nicer for us here, but if I do use the island for Serum Visions and then need to bolt after I've like topped, that could be pretty awkward. So I think this is actually going to be a situation where either A, I don't Serum Visions on turn 1, which is also sort of advantageous because we're blind, or B, I don't, or B, I just go get Steam Vents on turn 1, Fetch Shock Steam Vents. I think I'm going to opt for not Visionsing. I don't necessarily know what Budakov is playing. And my hand is just kind of middling anyway. I don't really know what I might want off this vision because of that. So we'll wait and get a little bit of info and leave up our bolt here. Looks like Budakov on Elves. So I get to use my mana pretty efficiently here. Nettle Sentinel, not the most exciting elf to bolt, but I'd almost rather hit like a mana elf or something of that sort, but still obviously something we're happy to exchange our bolt for. Alright, Serum Visions after fetching here. Remand, potentially going to be a little bit clunky. 5th land I feel like I'm going to find anyway. Next turn is probably a Snap Bolt turn. Land I think is 100% on the bottom. I'm contemplating this Remand. I think it will probably be fine. We may end up just remanding something that costs 1 mana, but we could get a 3-drop out of the deal. And I guess depending on what our opponent plays this turn, yeah, okay, so we're Snap Bolting that. I was going to say we could potentially leave up Remand. I guess... yeah, I'm just bolting that. Otherwise, there's too high of a potential that we get into a weird standoff. If my opponent has like two chords in their hand, for example. So we'll go ahead and take care of that guy. And this is where the remand might be a little bit awkward, right? Ooh. So we'd be ecstatic to exchange a Snapcaster for one of those, and I'm certain our opponent will not be, so they're likely just going to be taking this. I'm not going to bolt either of these right now. Certainly the Elvish Mystic puts my opponent up to having their 4th mana for company, potentially. If they cast another elf, I can bolt this Heritage Druid in response to at least constrict their mana somewhat. Heritage Druid, probably a better bolt target in general. It's possible I'm supposed to exchange this remand right now just to try and draw that card, but I'm 2 cards off of comboing my opponent anyway, so I'm not really that worried about it. We'll remand this just to be annoying, though. It's something they can't recast. Desolate Lighthouse, obviously the best 5th land here for us, considering we can loot here. We unfortunately do not have the breach, I mean the Emrakul to go with our breach to finish our opponent off here. But we did have the early tools, which is more important for sure. Being able to bolt twice, obviously very important against a Devoted Druid Elves deck. So opponent obviously leaving up company mana here. Seemingly considering whether or not to company before damage. We're still going to Lighthouse EUT. I mean, we're just looking for it. Yeah, sure. You got it. Opponent's going to slam that in our end step anyway, and we don't have a way to deal, so might as well just get it out of the way now and know what we're up against, I suppose. And get my loot. Alright, so they do have the Vizier in their hand as well. There's a remand. Doesn't do anything for me, but neither does this land. So I guess we'll pitch the land. Alright, there's the Emrakul. Opponent has 7 permanents, but no blockers. And that's why we're happy to Lighthouse. Get that 1 card deeper and hope that that gets us to Emrakul, which it did. So we will be attacking for 15. Our opponent can keep 1 permanent, but it doesn't matter. It can't block this Emrakul since it has flying. Sideboarding against Elves. Happy to bring in Angers, Staticaster, Explosives, even Roasts. Just all my removal possible. Spell Snare, not very exciting. I mean, it hits Devoted Druid and the elf that generates a token if you have another elf when it enters play. Maybe hitting Devoted Druid. I guess Vizier, right? So maybe against traditional elves, Spell Snare, not very exciting, but against this variant, perhaps I just like being able to hit Devoted Druid and Vizier. Although, I wonder if my opponent is interested in siding out that particular combo in a Lightning Bolt heavy matchup. It seems like we could get really lucky and get my opponent with Blood Moon, but I'm probably just off that. Electrolyze seems fine. Click seems fine. Could shave a Cryptic here. I think that'd be respectable. I want all the combo pieces, I think. Remands on the draw either get cut entirely or shaved, I think, especially when I'm bringing in this much. Removal. So I think these 7 for these 7, and I'm just not sure how I feel about this Spell Snare yet. Maybe 1 is the right answer. I would rather have removal than counter magic here. Snap is redundant removal. Click. Maybe click's less exciting. Maybe I'd want to shave down to 1 click for second Spell Snare. Just have more cheap interaction. As much cheap interaction as possible against a Devoted Druid deck. That seems fine. I mean, again, they might be siding out their combo and just trying to play the fair game. I think that would be reasonable. But they might feel like they don't have the luxury of doing that because of the potential of breach, right? Like if we were a regular control deck, maybe that's something that they would want to do, a regular Bolt deck. If we were like literally Blue Moon, for example. But this hand might be a little too slow in the draw. Obviously, I can click away one of these Emrakuls, but not being able to roast anything until turn 2. I mean, I think we can do better than this with how we've boarded here. This hand is comparable, but I think we're going to have to keep it here. Probably don't have the luxury of bottoming that either. Opponent will start on something that we're not going to be able to kill, an Elvish Mystic. We'll get a Steam Vents at the end of their turn, and they probably get the opportunity to cast a 3-drop here, which we will get to roast. And that's probably better for us than them, like, casting a bunch of little guys here, since I just have a bunch of roasts instead of angers or whatever. Definitely need to aggressively fetch red sources. Blood Moon is no longer in my deck, but I do have anger and a lot of other red spells. We obviously sided in a lot of red cards, so we'll want to be looking for those red sources when we can. There's Devoted Druid. Probably going to have to kill that as well, which will leave the Heritage Druid alive, unfortunately. Spell Snare a little bit too late, and awkwardly enough, I feel like I really need to Serum Visions this turn. But if my opponent has another Devoted Druid or something of that sort, yeah, I guess I'm going to be really greedy here and hope to Spell Snare something. They are splashing the black as well. Maybe Blood Moon, not so bad. But, I mean, again, they do have stuff like this, so it's really hard to get them with Blood Moon. Plus, I'm siding on all these additional red cards, so I can't as aggressively fetch islands. Another Azuri and an Archdruid. Yeah, we're probably not winning this game. Probably not winning this game. Bolt basically has to be pointed at this Azuri here. That's good. Yeah, so definitely pointing the bolt at the Azuri now. Bottom the Steam Vents, top this Anger. Play Mountain. Bolt Azuri. Keep up Spell Snare, although I would basically not be Spell Snaring anything this turn. Yeah, that's fine. So we're going to take some beats this turn. Ooh, opponent has more to cast. Hopefully, I guess if it was another Archdruid, he would have already cast it, so it's not that. Potentially leaving up Collected Company here. If they hit Archdruid number 3 or 4, that would be a disaster. I guess they're leaving up Collected Company. Potentially Cord. If they have Cord for Selfless Spirit here, that would be just as bad. All right, it's another company, and they're going for hit another Archdruid, I suppose. Hopefully they don't hit another Archdruid. If they do, we're dead. If they don't, they're pretty dead. This pause here might be good for us. Probably means there's not another Archdruid. Or it means there's another Archdruid and the second, I guess the second thing wouldn't possibly matter. All right, looks like Anger was good enough. Certainly powerful against Elves. And if they had hit the Archdruid there, I mean, it's kind of roll the dice. We're fortunate that they didn't have another Archdruid. Otherwise, that's going to another game. But 4-1, and I guess I will see you in the wrap-up.